ワンピースは実在する。
俺はモンキー・ディ・ルフィ。お前らを超えて海賊王になる男だ。
人の夢は終わらねえ。
Welcome
to Nerdville.
We'll never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
Hey everyone, I'm Fanfi.
And I'm Turtles. This week's chapter was full of excitement. Between the Buster Call starting, seeing Kizaru and Saturn at work, and let's not forget about maybe Blackbeard making an appearance in Egghead. To get another devil fruit, let's talk about it. Well, I think the first thing we need to talk about for this chapter is that they're, starting the Buster Call. And I think the surprising part for me when I was reading it was to see that Saturn and Kizaru are staying put. Like how Buster Calls were described before. It's like, they're just, leveling an island, right? And I'm just like, it seemed like it was so powerful that even, the strongest characters would not want to be in there. But since Saturn and Kizaru are staying, they just, I guess they just want to ensure that Vegapunk and the Straughts can't escape from it.
Kizaru is Logia, right? So I don't think he has anything to worry about for the Buster. I don't think Logias are, have problems with Buster Card unless the cannonballs are made of Kaidoseki, right? I don't think that they can damage Logias. And as for Saturn, we talked about it right in the previous chapter where he was taking damage left and right, seemingly without caring or trying to dodge and stuff. It felt like, anyways, to us, right, that Saturn is, devil fruit or the abilities of his demon is just like it's almost infinite regeneration, right? So it seems like they won't have any problem, right, surviving the Buster Call. At least that's what I thought. But it's true that for us, for Buster Call, it used to be like the big, the big deal, the big, end of the conflict moment, right? But I mean, the Buster Call also, it's symbolic, right? Where it means that the island really has no more use anymore whatsoever, right? It's basically Ohara now, right? It was before, but they were trying to, secure as many resources as they could. That's why they sent Saturn, because he's, the godhead of science and defense, so he's the one who supervises all that. So you'd think that they, again, like we said last week, that they would try to, keep some stuff, right? But no, it's too late for that. There's too many people that, betrayed the world government in a way. And, Saturn just wants to make sure that everyone dies and no one can escape, right? And it goes back to what he's saying, right? About not caring about humanity and not needing progress, which is quite, I guess, funny, because he's a man of science himself, right? But I guess that's just his position within the world government, right? And he doesn't, he supervises it, but doesn't find it that necessary for what they're trying to do, I guess.
Well, I think his point is that he doesn't care for humanity. So when Vegapunk's like, but what about progress? What about the progress for humanity? Is like, well, I don't care, because I never cared about humanity. All I care is progress for myself and for us. And he does realize, and that's every man in science will tell you that, progress leads to, people being educated, people be understanding what things are, and then rebelling. So, so I think his point of view is that we can't progress too much, because if we do, then we'll have to deal with the consequences of that. That if you leave people in ignorance and misery, well, they won't fight back as hard.
Yeah, they're much easier to handle, right?
I think it's the basic, it's like if they can't meet the basic needs, they can't focus on the higher stuff.
And keep the masses down too, right?
Well, you got to secure yourself before you can secure others, in a way. I think that's the principle behind it. And so they already have a lot to deal with. And we've seen that there was some in One Piece, there's always been a technological,
disparity
conundrum in a way. Yeah, disparity, for sure. Because you have the general population, even the pirates, are more basic tools, and then the Marines are on warships. One is like a pirate ship, and the other one is a warship. It's completely
with cannons and sea prism stone to stop the sea kings from. They do have quite a big advantage on the water, the Marines.
I mean, it makes sense. They have they have most of the resources at their disposal, and they've been in charge for a long time too.
Yeah. They want to keep things simple, like you said.
And if they can figure out to get York out, they're fine.
Yeah,
I think
they have.
that's
If
probably
they
what
ever
Saturn
need
thinks.
any more scientific progress, they can use her, right? I think another thing, you know, that's mentioned in that moment, right? Again, like Vegapunk asks about, you know, what about the progress for humanity? Why are you blowing up Egghead? You could still use it and stuff. But Saturn, you know, is very intelligent. Picks up on it immediately that, you know, what are you hiding? What are you still hiding? Is there something else that you don't want us to see, right? And I think that he's being perceptive, right, about what we talked about in chapter we were talking about it, I think, in chapter 1084 or 3, or I think it was 3. Vegapunk was talking about the giant robot of dreams, and, you know, and Kizaru was mentioning it too, and how, you know, this robot was very important to the history of the world, right? That he had, you know, attacked Mary Joie and stuff, and that it was a secret that he was on Egghead, apparently, that the world government didn't know. So it seems like Vegapunk is talking about that, and also with what we saw with the escape plan, right?
I think it's obvious at this point that we know that the robot of dreams is going to show up, and we know, as you said, that it's not going to be. It was hidden from the world government, and from what we saw too, it's like it looks like it responds to the beat of the drums of liberation, and that could explain why we haven't seen it so far, because Luffy kind of, you know, got out of his gear 5, so maybe he didn't get enough energy yet to get up,
or he wasn't close enough to it while he was fighting Kizaru, right?
That's possible, but we know Luffy is in the chapter as well. We've seen it is fully, you know, has fully eaten, so he's gonna be ready to come back for round 2, like Luffy always does.
And for those of you who don't know, like when we're talking about, you know, the giant robot of dream being awakened by the drums of liberation, it's because the moment when Luffy turned gear 5 to grab Kizaru in that chapter, the robot woke up, right? And it was a similar panel to what we saw with Zunisha reacting to, you know, to gear 5. So it was that was our thoughts, and there was the doom da, like right next to him while there was, you know, was waking up. But yeah, like we do think that it's linked to that, and that is probably the only escape plan for them, right?
And I will say that I'm a bit surprised that Zoro hasn't taken care of Lucci yet.
I'm not.
No, I thought, you know, it's like we don't know much about Lucci, and it probably got way stronger than he was before. And he did fight Luffy. He was a Luffy opponent.
He got wrecked.
So it's not
but he got wrecked by Luffy.
No, the first time around.
No, but I mean in gear 5.
Oh, for sure. Well, he's not on Luffy's level, but Luffy has reached a different level at this stage.
Yeah.
Where
or you know, even Zoro's not at that level, right? Or we don't know.
He might
maybe
have been a little bit higher.
Huh?
I'm not sure, but we know that Jinbei is picking him up too, so I think that fight is going to end pretty soon, no matter what.
And I love how they mention in that moment, right, where he says, Jinbei, go get Zoro, or whatever the whole shtick is. They specify that they're going to send Jinbei to get Zoro, not because they don't think that Zoro can't take on Lucci, but because he might get lost, right? They want the responsible one with him.
Well, they need that.
That Zoro respects, right? Like,
to be there. He's gonna listen to for sure. If
he's
you
not gonna listen
Sanji.
to Sanji. What are you talking about, Marimo? Yeah, and Kizaru again. Like, we said it last time, and I'm gonna say it again. Kizaru is just, you know, he's so much more impressive than Luffy is. Luffy's still out of it, right?
Job.
Like,
well, the thing is, we don't know the kind of strain that Gear 5 puts on the body as a whole. We know that Luffy has major consequences for using specific forms, when it doesn't seem like, for example, Kizaru would have those limitations based on his fruit. But he's just impressive because he always is aware of his surroundings. He's always aware of what needs to be done. And right now he's put them in a tough position because they're kind of mid-air, like at the mercy of anything, if you think about it.
Yeah, and it feels like that Kizaru is definitely not the one who gave Luffy food, and I don't think that anyone gave Luffy food, since in the chapter we see him, you know, close to the food machine. Now did he crawl there, right? After he felt a bit better. But yeah, like you say, maybe he just extended his arm to the food machine and he just clicked a few buttons and hoped for the best, right? Like, that's definitely
at this
possible.
Point, we know Luffy only needs any kind of food. He doesn't, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He just clicks on a bunch of buttons and eats whatever's there. And the end of the chapter.
I think it's just your typical cliffhanger. I will say I kind of forgot For people that don't like, for everybody, the chapter ends on an image of a marine ship being destroyed and saying that somebody is on, that they are on their way.
Yeah, we have to report this to Kizaru, right?
Exactly. And we believe that those are the Blackbeard pirates.
Yeah, exactly. Since in chapter 1079, I think it was like halfway through the chapter, right before leading into the part about Shanks, where we saw a ship from the Blackbeard pirates arrive, right?
And that could be another element on how they're gonna escape. We know that Blackbeard always has a plan, and he's always looking for those like specific fruits. So I wonder, like, which fruit do you think he's aiming for? Because he always does that. They're always going somewhere.
He's going. Oh, I definitely think he's going for the pawpaw fruit. It's a powerful fruit, man.
It's a powerful fruit. I thought he might go for Vegapunk's fruit.
Oh, that's true. But does he have anyone in his crew that can, like, that's smart enough to?
What if he does it for himself? Since we know he has a weird body type, and that whole theory of him having 3 personalities, right? If that's true, that would put the possibility that he could get a 3rd fruit. And what better fruit than
to raise your intelligence?
A super intelligent. Yes, exactly, right? He already has everything he needs.
No, but I mean, the fruits aren't necessarily for him too. They're for his troops, right? Like, that's from what I understood. Sure. Like they hunt, you know, like with what we saw with Absalom, right, and Moria, that they killed Absalom to take his fruit. So I know, but I still put my money on Kuma, because like this whole backstory was on Kuma. You know, it's kind of the end of his purpose in the story. He's, you know, he saved his daughter. He's gonna get them on the ship, right? Like, but yeah, I think it's probably Kuma. Vegapunk, you know, fruit also makes sense because it is, you know, in the right hands, insane. But yeah, like, it's also possible that, you know, it's not specifically Blackbeard, right? Because, like I said, the only people who could be here on Egghead would be Blackbeard, Burgess, Von Ogre, or Augur, Von Augur, I think. Yeah, Von Augur, Doc Q, and Stronger, right? The Pegasus, because they were fighting Law right before, right? And I know that Blackbeard's ship at that point as well was a raft. We don't know exactly how each of Blackbeard's ships are, right? But it seems, you know, very possible. And all the other ones on Hachinose with Garp, you know, so they wouldn't leave Hachinose unguarded. It seems like those people would stay in Hachinose. Or it's not Blackbeard at all, and it's Lafitte and Katarina Devon, who we haven't seen. At least we haven't seen Katarina Devon since they attacked what's it called, Amazon Lily. So I don't know, I have no idea where she is either.
I mean, it could also be some people from Hachinose bringing Garp to make a trade to get what they want.
That's true,
because Garp is a really good trading piece for them at this point, because even though the world government doesn't, you know, care as much about, you know, Marines and all that stuff, Garp is clearly a character that they're not willing to upset, or not a character that willing to lose. I think he just knows too much.
Yeah.
And even for an image wise, it's a very hard, like, to keep the public in check. You need kind of have Garp at this stage.
Yeah, he's too much of a figurehead. Like, you've already got some Marines that are defecting and stuff, so you don't want to add fuel to the fire, right?
And honestly, I think that's probably their best plan if they want to have a smooth, you know, way of getting what they want for Blackbeard. But they could just keep it in the back for a later date too.
Yeah, that's possible. But I mean, who else do you think it could be apart from Blackbeard, right? Like, if it's anyone else, like, it could be multiple people coming, and Blackbeard was just one of, you know, one of many.
Maybe the revolutionaries, because we know that in this chapter it has been revealed that the ship that they were trying to destroy escaped, and who would help those people? I don't think Blackbeard would really do it. I feel like it feels more like a Dragon or Sabo thing to do, to save people that were like, you know, it's like they would, you know,
we there's a connection skipped over that.
Yeah, a little bit.
We skipped over that part. Yeah, no, but that's definitely true. Yeah, the revolutionaries. That makes so much sense, right?
It makes sense just because there's also that connection between Dragon and Vegapunk, and I'm sure that Dragon would be more than willing to help people that Vegapunk cares for in a way, because that's what he does. He cares for all those researchers, and on top of it, the revolutionaries could use their knowledge to their advantage with all the, because they do, as Saturn said in the chapter,
they need resources.
That not even just that. Saturn, mentions that those researchers have researched the Void Century. That's what he implies. He didn't say it was just
that they might
Vegapunk.
have, for sure,
Yeah, right. So there's a possibility that they might bring extra knowledge to the revolutionaries about what happened, and also the technological advancement. Maybe close that gap that they've been struggling with, because they would have access to higher knowledge.
It would definitely help them in their fight against the world government. And I mean, those researchers wouldn't be too down with the world government after they destroy their laboratory, right? And send like pacifists to attack them and CP0 agents and stuff. Like,
I feel like it's more than just that to them. It's like this island, it looks like it's like they truly believe they're like people of this island. They didn't come originally from this island, but that's like their country in a way.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's like they also believe in Vegapunk, right? And in improving humanity and stuff. And they know that if the government is going to attack this facility, then that means they don't believe in the good of humanity, right? That's not what they're for. Here, they were here for military purposes. That's why they were here.
And that could be our first encounter between Luffy and Dragon as well. First time they actually like have a face-to-face. I think if I had to take a guess on that one though, honestly, I just think Luffy's just not gonna care at all.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
They're gonna be like,
sure.
Somebody's gonna be like, "It's your dad," and he's gonna be like, "Huh?" Like, okay,
oh, cool. And then he scratches his nose,
Yeah, probably. That's
Picks his
exactly
nose.
how
Picks his nose. Yeah.
Picks his nose. Yeah, probably doing that.
And I mean, this could be also. I mean, Dragon has been, active in the story before, right? We've seen that he's been, taking moves, successfully, instigated revolutions in several countries. That was mentioned by the Gorosei at when Sabo had infiltrated. So Dragon has been active, but we haven't seen him, actively do something from the perspective of the narrator, right? Seeing him in action now would be interesting. I thought it would be reserved maybe for later in the story, but he could intervene. And when we're saying that the revolutionaries might come, it doesn't mean that Blackbeard won't. Blackbeard is definitely coming, or at least the Blackbeard pirates are definitely coming to Egghead, because again of what we saw in chapter 1079, right? That the raft was close by, right? But yeah, here it seems like the revolutionaries would want to rescue these people, right? So, or it's going to be like this three-way streak, right? Where where it's the revolutionaries facing off against the forces of the world government, and Blackbeard trying to pick off whatever resources he can, because if this island's going to be destroyed, might as well take whatever you can before it is, right? Whether it's a devil fruit, like we mentioned previously, or Kumas or Luffy's or Vegapunks or whatever, or just getting scientific knowledge, right? Like, as we know, like, technology is super important in One Piece, right? So yeah. And I mean, go ahead.
The wildest thing that could happen for what he's aiming for, that's like, I don't think that's actually what he's going for, but that would be crazy. He could technically go for Kizaru's fruit if he wanted, or Saturn himself, because we don't know
if it's a devil fruit.
But if it's a devil fruit, do you imagine what he could do with that? So I don't think it's gonna happen, but that's crazy to think that he has really
so many
a good
options to choose from.
He has a lot of options to choose from. It's probably gonna be Kuma or Vegapunk. Like that would.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's gonna be Kuma just because of it being linked to his backstory. And again, since we saw Dragon a lot in Kuma's backstory, it would make sense for him to show up, somewhat soon in the story, right? Whether it's at the end or here. And it doesn't have to be, it could still be Blackbeard who just, saved the researchers as, as a way just to bring them to his side. We've seen that Blackbeard is manipulative, right? Like, oh, you don't like the world government? Me neither. I want to change the status quo, right? Like, I could see that happening as well. But it's still I find it to be very cool for Dragon to show up right now just after Kuma's backstory, also giving him an opportunity to see Kuma, before Kuma finally disappears for good. whether it's Blackbeard taking his fruit, right, or him just dying out, like not like that last, you know, flame that he's, you know, holding on to just like dies out, you know, like a Charmander. Thanks for watching, everyone. This is our discussion video for chapter 1105. Let us know if you think that the giant robot of dreams will possibly intervene to save the Straw Hat Pirates, or if Blackbeard is indeed going to arrive at Egghead. If you need a really long video to like wash your dishes or fall asleep to, we have our full backstory video on Bartholomew Kuma. Check it out at the end of the video.
See you next time.
Peace out.